Welcome Sussex Squad, and welcome to new friends. An Afghanistan war service at St. Paul's Cathedral, and then a reception at Guildhall, hosted by the City of London Corporation, and then the launch of Walking with Wounded, the Wounded Walk of Britain, and then a visit to England's rugby team, and then watching them practice for a match against France, and then following them to Twickenham and cheering them on, and then a memorial for the Olympian, Richard Meade, the most successful equestrian in British history, and then a trip with Pa to Turkey to attend ceremonies marking 100th anniversary of Gallipoli, and then a meeting with the descendants of the men who fought in that epic battle, and then back to London to hand out medals to runners at the London Marathon. That was the start of my 2015, just the highlights. The papers were awash with stories about Willy being lazy, and the press had taken to call him work-shy Wills, which was obscene, grossly unfair, because he was busy having children and raising a family. Kate was pregnant again also. He was still beholden to Pa, who controlled the purse strings. He did as much as Pa wanted him to do, and sometimes that wasn't much, because Pa and Camilla didn't want Willy and Kate getting loads of publicity. Pa and Camilla didn't like Willy and Kate drawing attention away from them or their causes. They'd openly scolded Willy about it many times. Case in point, Pa's press office berated Willy's team when Kate was scheduled to visit a tennis club on the same day Pa was doing an engagement, when they were told it was too late to cancel the visit. Pa's press office warned, just make sure the Duchess doesn't hold a tennis racket in any of the photos. Such a winning-fetching photo with undoubtedly white Pa and Camilla off the front pages, and that in the end couldn't be tolerated. Willy told me that both he and Kate felt trapped and unfairly persecuted by the press and by Pa and Camilla. So I felt some need to carry the banner for all three of us in 2015, but selfishly, I also didn't want the press coming for me to be called lazy. I shattered. I never wanted to see the word attached to my name. The press had called me stupid for most of my life and naughty and racist, but if they dare call me lazy, I couldn't guarantee I wouldn't go down to Fleet Street and start pulling people out from behind their desks. I didn't understand until months later that there was even more reason why the press was gunning for Willy. He first had gotten them all worked up by ceasing to play their game, denying them unfettered access to his family. He refused several times to trot Kate out like a prize racehorse, and that was considered a bridge too far. Then he had the temerity to go out and vaguely give an anti-Brexit speech, which really galled them. Brexit was their bread and butter. How dare he suggest it was bullcrap? 2015, a brutal year for Prince William. Work-shy Willy was dominating tabloid headlines. 10 years later, 2025, it's back in the headlines. What was set in motion by a series of particularly cutting headlines? What image rehabilitation concocted? The resentment of the tabloid press was already deeply rooted in William, but his father's briefing betrayals were relentless, at the hands of Camilla, only served to ignite William's rage even more so. By midsummer 2025, the British tabloids started their callouts, with a focus on Prince William and his lack of work ethic, as well as his focusing too much on vacations and competition with his little brother, Prince Harry, and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. The tabloids also dragged his aunt, the Princess Royal, into the fray. The Princess Royal is over all the nonsense. She has a reputation for a strong get-it-done work ethic that is shades of her late father, Prince Philip's approach to duty. It has been alleged that she sees William as lacking and ill-prepared for the role, while also worrying that Kate has had many years to define herself and her role as future queen, and yet has done little in preparation. Are William and Kate making moves and sending messages that they are going to be part-time working royals? Is William trying to change his image while defying the invisible contract with the tabloids? Does William really want to be king? Or does he long for a life very different than what is destined for him? A role he has been groomed for his whole life? Has William's younger brother shown there is life outside of the palace walls? Or is William really just trying to have his cake and eat it too?